He's a little doubtful about the whole situation there. The animators do a very nice job of this part of the movie, because one of the things you see is that his eyebrows are always pointing up in the middle, whereas his father's eyebrows were pointing down in the middle. And so that's the difference between this, which is sort of like things are happening to me, and this, which is more like I'm imposing my will on things, and that's an immature face, and the animators capture that brilliantly. So here's where she shames him again. She tells him how much she liked him when he was little, and you know, a potential king, and how hurt she is that he's this useless, you know, wide-eyed, naive, impulsive, pleasure-seeking adolescent. And she tells him that she missed him, and God only knows why, because look at him again. It's like completely appalling creature. And this is when Pumbaa and Timon sing that song about the fact that, you know, their friend's doomed because, you know, this girl's got him. And then they switch into another archetypal scene, and so they're falling in love here, and so the paradisal imagery is really highlighted in the movie, and so they go off and have this like romp, self-reflective romp through this new paradise, and they wrestle around and play, and then he pins her more or less, and she licks him. That's not so good. And this is one of the most brilliant shots, I think, that the animators managed, because she's obviously pushing this a little bit farther than he knows what to do with. And so they're wrestling, and she licks him, and then she lays down and makes this face, which is, every single class I've ever showed this to, all laugh when they see that image. And that's a good example. So Freud said that jokes were a good route into the unconscious. So the question is, and this is an archetypal facial expression, and everyone knows exactly what it means. There's something sexually seductive about it, something very sexually seductive about it, despite the fact that it's a lioness. And the animators do an extraordinarily good job of capturing that, and so that has a huge effect on him. Well, these guys know that like, the game's up, man. It's like they know they're dead. Whatever attractions they can offer are paling in comparison to this. So anyways, things don't really progress past that, but you know, he gets a hint of her longing for him, what's waiting for him if he grows up, and the fact that she's completely disappointed in him because he's so completely useless. And so now he's lounging about, you know, like some basement dweller with Cheeto dust all over his chest, and trying to justify his absolutely useless life, and you know, saying that he doesn't have any responsibility to the devastated kingdom, and he's out there where Hakuna Matata, you know, I can just do whatever I want and follow my impulsive pleasures. And she thinks he's pretty pathetic, and the reason for that is because he is actually pretty pathetic. And she tells him that, you know, she's extraordinarily disappointed, and he gets all pouty about it. I mean, even here you see when he's got kind of an aggressive look on his face, there's still nothing about it that's commanding. It's petulant, right? It's like, well, now I'm irritated, but he's got no force, and still completely appalling in this particular situation. So she judges him very harshly and leaves, and that makes him think. Yeah, he gets all self-conscious because this female that he admires wants to have nothing to do with him, and so he's, first of all, then he thinks, well, maybe I'll just hate all women, which is, you know, pretty pathetic conclusion, but a very common one. And the next is, well, maybe there's actually something wrong with him, right? Which is a very painful bit of self-reflection. So he notes that there's something wrong with him, and then he calls out to his father and says, look, you said you were always going to be here for me, and you're not. And so what's happening is that he's become aware of the insufficiency of his current adolescent value structure, and he wants something beyond it, which would be associated with identification with the father. But he can't find the father. The father's dead. It's like when Pinocchio goes down to the bottom of the ocean to bring Geppetto up from the depths, right? That's the situation that Simba finds himself in right now. The father's gone and has to be brought up from the depths.